Well, let's give that a minute. Doesn't appear to be streaming anything. Oh, there we go. It took a while. Okay. Today, I thought we'd go through, after having kind of successfully migrated just the users table from MS SQL to Turso DB. I think it's just called Turso, which is super simple. We created some R2D2, sorry, some Star Wars type names just to keep it all anonymous. And we could create that table, drop the table, insert into table, and get the users out. Nice and simple. So at the moment, the application doesn't even have anywhere where new users can be created. It was just like, there's some users in the system and it's good enough for testing. But there's obviously still quite a lot of other tables to migrate. So this is in SQL, the database diagram, where we've got the users table, and there's foreign keys off to many other tables, but the key ones are, well, the central table seems to be the class. There's always one table that seems to be linked up to more than anyone else's, and I really want to rename this because there's too many clashes with obviously class being a reserved word in many languages. And really it's more of an event, or it's not exactly a match, but it's a kind of, it's like we play tennis every Tuesday, that embodiment of like a regular event. You know, we play it at the same time, the same place. So I don't know, event is also going to be a reserved word, so I can't really think of anything better. Anyway, so there's that, and I have kept it as lean as possible when it comes to dates, because dates always annoy the crap out of me in systems. So I've been pretty brave here, and I've created a date table, and the date table contains a primary key, auto number, date ID, and a date, which means that the system needs to know at the database level, at the back-end level, and on the client level, which ID relates to the start date that's in the database, and that must be written in stone and can never change, or else there's going to be all kinds of chaos. I've never done this approach before, but I'm going to give it a go. So you can then say that the class has got a number of subscribed users, i.e. we want you to play on this class every month. So you're kind of in that clique or that club of the players. So they might not all get to play, but you know, you're invited. And you notice there's no date on that because that's basically assigned only to the event that happens every week. And then over here on the attendee, so these are actually when you say, yeah, I would like to play, or I can play. So that's going to say, yeah, that's the class I want to play on, that's the date that it's actually going to be for, and that's the user. Now I added some extra ones over here, instructor, and the resource, obviously that would be like the court or the room. Haven't bothered with those as yet. And then a bunch of exceptions over here to handle things that, I don't know, there could be like some change, rather than breaking the simplistic model, which is generally we play every week at a certain time. That was the idea over there, but that's really not being looked at. None of these are really being looked at. Maybe in the query that joins things together. But the key tables are the class, the user, the date, the attendee, and the subscribed class. And so we need to create those tables again. Now, the thing that I'm going to miss from SQL is this diagram screen, because I do find it really useful for just adding new tables and then, you know, drawing the keys from one thing to another. I find it a really excellent tool. I'm sure there must be something else out there that runs in SQLite mode. I had a quick look yesterday. There's quite a few things that seem to be able to take your database schema and then show you a picture. But I like to be able to interact with it and move things around. Until that point, I guess we're just going to have to type it in manually. So let's start with the date table. Shouldn't be too difficult. Let's come out of the boxes, SQL, Windows, VM. And I guess if we go over here, I wonder if we could be super lazy here and just copy all of this. And interestingly, I named this table users. I like to keep all my tables singular or non-plural. I guess I just use their example. Well, let's add the file first of all. So it's going to be something like Turso date.go. And right, okay, let's get this right this time. GC. Okay, that was how to. So it's V capital G. Yeah, yank that into date. Pop that in there. Okay. Now then, can we do some tasty rename here? Colon percent S I'm sure it was percent S. Now I can't remember. Let's see, user slash date. Slash G. Yeah, I think that's it. And drop table dates. Create table dates, date ID, date name. Delete that. We just want that to be a date. And as for date name, I'm not sure about that. I think that should be just called date. Created dates table. Insert date. To be fair, I'm not sure if it's ever actually going to be inserting dates. From, well, I guess we have to if there's no SQL thing. Yeah, okay. Time dot date. that's how it works. I'm going to add the import for time. This is going to cause me a ball ache, I'm sure it always does. It's annoying how I can't automatically bring that in, and it's obviously dropped it because it wasn't finding anything. So we do have pb.date, and it has, let's check it out in the proto file. Date, not that date. Interesting. Okay. We just need the ID in the, I guess, yeah. Yeah, okay, because if you've got the start date, you can always just add the date ID on, because it starts at 1. But we are going to need a way of populating that table. And I think before I just had a store procedure for doing that. So pop create year. So we define a start date, and then we just add dates in. And obviously the auto number would take care of that. And so really this bit of code well, this seems to start on the 11th of December. I think that's when I started the project initially. But anyhow, that bit of code is a loop on the back end, and that's a pretty bad thing to do. But if it's only going to run once a year, and potentially it could just run once a week. I don't know, but you get the idea. We have nobody listening, which is good. Right, where was we? So this little functiono here could be replaced with the same code that we just looked at, that will just go and populate that year. Because if we don't, we're going to have to Seems crazy to me that the date protobuf thing doesn't even need a date. But then if all of the different I don't know, the environments or the back end, if everything knows what a date ID should be at a date, then it could just work that out. I think I did that in the Flutter framework. I don't know, let's have a look. By grepping day 1. Yeah, okay, there we go. So day 1 is defined. Now this is actually obviously in the code. Probably the better that it's hard coded, the better actually, because it can't be changed with environment variables. That obviously has to line up exactly with that date, the 11th of December, which it doesn't. I guess maybe that's because of 0. It seems to work, I think. Yeah, so if you add day 1, i.e. if your date ID is 1, you add that to the 10th of December 2023, you're going to get that, the 11th. It works. Yeah, so we just do add duration of days, and we've got our date, kind of hydrating it. But here we need to work out a way of taking that initial date and populating that table for the first time. Now, come on. Not even sure if we'd ever really need to bring those out, and certainly that is not going to exist. Well, it will exist actually. That should be right. It's a good example of where you don't get the syntax highlighting, because it's just a string. Yeah, so that's where it doesn't exist. I don't even know if we can use a trigger in SQLite, because if we had an embedded trigger, all you'd have to do is add a row and you'd get your next date. What do you think? Ooh, telephone call. Hello, I'm live on the YouTube platform, so do you want to say something private?
No, this is a business related call.
Ah, okay. I'll go into the other room. I mean, no one's listening. No one's listening. What are you looking at? Yeah. Lovely. Yeah, how are we going to handle this one? We really don't need to be printing all these out, but try to keep it just so it is consistent. No, we don't need to print these out. we are going to need to have that. No, we're not. We're not going to need to have that scanned. Delete to close bracket. Yeah, that's it. Because we are going to have a constant. How do you have a const? Is it const? Const time dot time. Oh no, hang on. Const day 1 equals time dot time. I don't know. We'll have it like that. 2023. Should we change this? We'll change it up this version. I think this is going to be the month. So 2024, January the 1st. Well, yeah, we'll keep it on UTC as well. Too many arguments in conversion to time. Yeah, I thought that was a lot. Or should we just remove that last one? Is it going to keep on moaning about all these? Yeah. Time dot time dot time dot time dot time. Sure, that would have worked. Okay, let's try A. Well, hey, why aren't you working? Oh, because I'm in insert mode. Create a const day 1, which is a time dot time of 1st Jan 2024. Here is how you can create a time. Yeah, okay. Let's have that then. Time.January. Really? I want that to be a const. Type check expected semicolon found bracket. I don't think it likes that. Please note that Go doesn't support time.time as a constant type, so we have to use a variable instead. Oh, I never knew that. I don't want it to be variable. I want it to be constant. But anyway, now then, we have to bear in mind here again that if we want it to start on the 1st of January, then actually, Control X, that should really be, hey, I like how you can increment those. I'm loving NeoVim. Oh, a bit too fast. So if we make the first day the 31st of December, then adding 1 will as easy as we are going to need to have to put the first one in there, so I think maybe we'll do that immediately after the create table. Yeah, let's do that. Yeah, okay. Day one. What's going to happen there? All right. So hopefully here we can ignore the date ID entirely, and here I don't know if this is even going to work, because yeah, we do need that. What we need is a variable to I guess if we do a read of the most recent date, I can always add a day to that. It's already starting to make the the little SQL loop much more efficient. I mean, that's it. I mean, I could just run that directly within the Turso UI and it would be up and running. But I'm trying to be good. So this little bit of code here, we might as well just put that into a loop. Yeah. I guess this is probably the area to do it, isn't it? Uh, it's almost like I really don't even want to know the date when I do an insert. I just want to add then we are going to need to have that done. Okay. Well, what was it? Range. I can't remember. Can't remember how to do a bloody range. How do I loop for 10 times? I can't remember. Okay, so I don't need the brackets. Replace with space. Replace with space. Okay, so that should give us 10 dates and a date table. Day 1 is unused. I wouldn't call it unused. I'm using it here. All right. Yank inward. Yank inward. And let's go to main. So where we are doing Turso connection string, Turso connect. Didn't do it there. G dot migrate users table. Error equals. Yeah, okay. If error it failed to MS SQL 5DW failed to migrate users table. Right. Quit. Control B %. Let's see. I'm going to have the presence of mind to create a little pocket down here, so I am not obscuring my camera. And then if I go into the same folder using Zuckside, and what's going to happen? All right, well, let's stop that. Failed to drop table. Yeah, no such table. That's fine. Now, what it didn't say was anything good happening, because the migrate should have tried to drop the table. Then it should have created the table, but it didn't say created dates table. Failed to drop tables. No such table. Dates created. What have I done here? Date table create. Failed. So I failed to create table. But then we did get a bunch of inserted dates. I can't see it saying created dates table anywhere. I guess we'll just have to have a look in on Turso. Turso. One database. Edit tables. We have a dates table. Do we have any dates in it? We have dates in it. Huh, but we added the same date every single time. That was a mistake. Okay. Day one dot. Yeah, add time dot day multiplied by I. Undefined time dot day. Are you shitting me? I just want to add a duration. Time dot duration. Okay. how do I add one day to a time dot time? In Go, you can add, okay, so it's 24 hours. Right. Whoop. So it's going to be time dot hour times 24 times I. Nope. Day 1 is a time. We want to add time dot hour times 24 times the day count. Why aren't you working? I'm sorry, that should be working. I've got to go outside again. Golang add day to time. I just want to add a day. Okay. Do we just do 001? Delete in brackets 001. Add date. Maybe that's it. Well, let's run it again. It should have dropped the dates table, although it looks like we're actually saying created twice. Dropped. That might have been the confusing bit. Okay, you can come out now. Let's go back into Turso. I'll rerun that query, and the same thing has happened. We have not. Yeah, I know why. I know why. Because we're just adding 1 all the time. So that, I don't know whether that's going to be an illegal date if it goes over over 31. But we'll see. That's correct. Correct. So let's see what happens. My feeling is that if this is adding a date, that's a fundamental combination of time zones. Well, let's just try it. So if I make this loop 100, inserted lots of dates, and my God, was it slow. What do we got? Yep, this works. Yeah, in my opinion, that's just very, very slow. And pretty certain you can't have any logic in the form of a stored procedure on SQLite. But we don't need to do this very often. But that definitely took a unit of time. And if we want to add a whole year, that takes ages. Well, anyway, we're doing stuff. We're getting stuff to work. So yeah, the listing, I guess, if we did that, and we get our list of dates, we could do something very similar to say FMT. Yeah, okay. What? That wasn't what was under the cursor. FMT.println println date ID enter. Yes. But then if I also have FMT println, yeah, okay, so it's going to be, that's going to fail because there's no such thing as a date. Whoa, what? I need to watch this. I'm going to be burning all my rights here. So let's change this to yeah. We don't need to keep doing that. But yeah, we could have JList dates Turso. What? Why are you still running that? Ah, it didn't compile. So I guess in a very similar way to the inserting, it's going to be the date, therefore, will be day 1 dot add date, no years, no months, but the date dot date ID added. Date ID is an int 32, and this is expecting an int. Alright, I've had this before. Can't remember off the top of my head how to convert int 32 to int. Literally in brackets, int. Now, there should be some checking going on, because theoretically you could go out of bounds. Error scanning row. Yeah, it's because there isn't, well, there is a date. Is there? Yeah, there is a date column. I don't know whether actually we need it. Right, there's our dates. So day 365 should be the 30th of December. Order by date ID descending. It's not. It's the 29th. Was that the date? I can't actually remember anymore. Let's keep an eye out. Date 365 is the 30th, according to that. So we're exactly one out. Which surprises me, because I can only imagine then let's try this again. And if we set that as day one, we keep this as 0 based. I'm not sure if that's because the date ID for 1 is, it is 1. I don't know. Let's go back to the server and we'll do that stuff again. Right, and how many tables did we migrate in the end? Oh, we'll just keep it the same. Air. So now 365 is the 30th of December. It's still one day out. But day one, what? Why is that still in there? Why is that still in there? First of all, I don't. Looks like I hadn't saved this file. Let's just save 10 days. Okay. I like it when it says this as well. When it's inserting those dates. Inserted date. delete 2 close brackets, date. All right. So it thinks that day 1 actually has gone in. I think there's some kind of race condition going off there, because that is doing things out of order. What have we got? 1st of Jan and the 10th of Jan. Seems to make perfect sense. But it's wrong. Well, at least it's wrong when the data's coming out from here. It's probably always going to be right if I take 1 off. And now the 10th is the 10th. 1 1 2 2 3 3 4 4. It's not ideal. But yeah. Okay, well, we're coming up for an hour's stream, and we've done very little. So I think I'll give it a rest there.